Welcome to this video on modeling with spreadsheets. In this video lecture, we are going to talk about three logical functions, namely if, and or. The if function, which we are going to illustrate right now, tests for a logical function and evaluates it to true or false. Accordingly, the output is evaluated based on the outcome of the logical statement. The syntax for the if statement is: there is a logical test which is the criteria to decide what will be the outcome for this true or false. So if this logical test evaluates to true, then it will take a particular course of action, and if it's false, it will evaluate to something else. Now let us illustrate this this function through this particular example. Let us assume that this is a representation of the marks in a particular examination. For the student to be given a pass, he has to score more than 60. So if the marks is greater than 60, he is going to be awarded pass and otherwise fail. To do this, we are going to do here. So we are going to say if this marks stored here is greater than 60, we are going to call it true pass, and if it is less than 60, it's a fail. So by doing this, we are checking for this particular value and checking if it is greater than 60, and if it is yes, it will give as pass, and if not, it will be a fail. Now 70 is greater than 60, which means it's a pass, and 40 and 35 are less than, so it will be a fail. So this is what we are going to do right now. Next, we are going to illustrate the OR function. The OR function is one which will test for the same logical functions and give a true if either one of the logical functions evaluates to true. So if you see here, there are logical functions 1, 2, 3, etc. So even if one of these logical functions are true, the overall output for this will be true, and even if and only if all the functions are false, it will evaluate to false. So let us illustrate this through this particular example. Let us assume there is a machine for which there are two different switches. The machine can be turned on using either one of the switches. So if we want to find out whether the machine is turned on or off, we can actually look at the position of the switch and then decide accordingly. So if the machine, if any one of the switches is turned on, the machine will be on, and if both the switches are turned off, and the machine will be off. So to do this, we are going to say or if this particular value is equal to on, or this particular value equal to on, it will be true. So now the thing is, this evaluates to true because this and this evaluates to true. If we just extend this, we find that in this particular case, one of the switch is turned on, so which means the machine is going to be on, and the same holds for this also. Only in this last case, when both the switches are turned off, is the machine is actually turning off. So that's why this evaluates to false. And now we are going to talk about the AND function. The AND function is similar to OR function, except the only difference is that, like in AND, all the logical conditions must evaluate to true. Only then will the output be true. So for the syntax for this is that equal to and checks whether all of these logical statements evaluates to true or not. Let us assume that, like in a particular business context, there has to be availability of money and there has to be a demand for a particular product for you to even venture into production. So for you to get into production, you have to have money as well as there has to be a demand. So to do this, let's do the same thing. Equal to and this has to be the production, the availability of money has to be true, as well as there has to be a demand. So demand equal to yes. Now click enter. We'll find that it says that production has to be true. notice here that in these two cases, in the first case there is no demand, and in the second case there is no money, as a result of which there is no production. And in the last case, both demand and availability, money is not there, as a result of which production is not going to happen. In the particular example that we are going to talk about here, we are going to talk about the room database sheet. Here, this is a sheet which is going to capture about the availability of rooms which are there in a particular hotel. So these represent the various rooms and the various types that are available, and these are the corresponding fares. This status is arrived at by using a mix of all of these logical functions that I just explained right now. So before getting into this, let us use this where we are going to talk about the if statement that we just saw. So here we say that if you look at this particular function, it says if D3 equal to unoccupied A3, if not blank. So what this means is that this particular value checks the value of present in the cell D3, and if this particular cell represents unoccupied, then it is going to take the corresponding room number, and if not, it's just going to give a blank string. So in essence, what this does is that it represents all the list of available rooms that are already there. So in this case, know that F7 and F8 are blanks because these represent are occupied. Now similarly, in the last set of this particular video, we are going to talk about how the status is arrived at. So if you look at here, it's a nested if and or statements all put together. Now how do you arrive at this particular status? There are three functions which are used here to arrive at this particular status. First is the logical function OR, which takes the availability of the room and from the room booking tab. So here, if the room number, so this is a list of rooms which are already allocated. So if this room number is already there, so it just checks that way for all of these, and if any of these rooms are available, so that is a capture through this particular OR statement. And if any of these rooms is present, and if the room has to be a status of confirm, so this particular room has to be a confirmed room, and this represents the fact that like today's date has to be greater than the check-in date and lesser than the checkout date. So if all these three conditions are satisfied, in that the room has to be allocated, the room's booking has to read a status of confirmed, as well as the check-in date and the checkout date has to be greater than today's date and less than today's date respectively. So in that case, the final status of the room will be occupied, and if not, it will be unoccupied. Thank you.